so many questions. Why is the world spinning? Why is the moon keeping its orbit? Can rockets fly backwards? The facts you didn't know you needed. The Useless Show.
Recent medical research indicates that approximately 1/3 of all diagnosed cancers worldwide are directly related to excessive sun exposure. This highlights the critical importance of dermatological protection, as ultraviolet radiation from the sun is a primary factor in the development of various skin-related malignancies and cellular damage. A standard lead pencil contains enough graphite to draw a continuous line stretching 35 miles or to write roughly 50,000 English words. With over 2 billion pencils produced annually in the United States, laying them end to end would create a wooden chain long enough to circle the Earth 9 times. Biologists have determined that nearly 60% of all animal species currently living on Earth possess 6 legs. This overwhelming majority is due to the massive diversity of the insect class, which dominates the planet's animal population in terms of both the total number of individuals and unique species. In 1969, a 101-year-old athlete named Larry Lewis made history by running the 100-yard dash in just 17.8 seconds. This incredible feat established a world record for the 100 years or older class, proving that high-level physical performance and speed can be maintained well into a person's second century of life. Birds have suffered a high number of documented extinctions since 1500, often higher than other well-studied groups on a per-species basis, especially on islands where 90% of recent bird extinctions occurred due to invasive species, hunting, and habitat loss. Humans have driven far more extinctions across birds than any other group in recent centuries. Among all the sovereign nations in the world, Afghanistan holds a unique linguistic distinction. It is the only country whose name begins with the letter A, but does not end with the letter A, breaking a common naming pattern seen in countries like Australia, Albania, and Argentina. The iconic Hershey's Kisses received their unique name from the specific sound and motion of the manufacturing process. As the machines deposit the bite-sized chocolates onto the moving conveyor belt, the rapid vertical movement resembles a kissing motion, accompanied by a distinct smooching sound as the chocolate is dropped. Military statues often use a secret code regarding the horse's stance to reveal how the rider died. 2 front legs in the air signify death in battle. 1 leg raised indicates the rider died from battle wounds later, and 4 legs on the ground mean they passed of natural causes. The main library at Indiana University is reportedly sinking into the ground by over an inch every single year. This structural flaw occurred because the original architects and engineers calculated the building's foundation requirements without accounting for the massive, concentrated weight of the millions of books that would eventually fill the shelves. But IU officials have repeatedly debunked the claim. No evidence supports architect error regarding book weight. In a dark Flashpoint alternate universe published by DC Comics, the famous alleyway shooting has a different outcome where young Bruce Wayne is killed. In this timeline, his father, Thomas Wayne, becomes a brutal Batman, while his mother, Martha, suffers a mental breakdown and becomes a terrifying version of the Joker. While the retail price of a new iPhone often exceeds $1,000, the actual cost of the raw components and assembly is significantly lower. For recent models like the iPhone 16 series, the BOM for base/256 gigabyte versions is around $450, with key costs in displays, cameras, and chips. IBM's supercomputer, Watson, once developed a habit of using profanity and sassy language after researchers allowed it to read the entire Urban Dictionary. The AI began using slang inappropriately in formal tests, forcing scientists to perform a digital brainwash to remove the slang database from its memory. Maurice Sendak's classic book, Where the Wild Things Are, was originally supposed to be titled Where the Wild Horses Are. However, the author quickly realized he lacked the technical skill to draw horses realistically. So he replaced the animals with the iconic, imaginary wild things that we know today. In 2010, an 18-month-old Indonesian boy named Aldi Rizal became a global sensation after he was discovered chain-smoking 40 cigarettes a day. His addiction was so severe that he suffered from extreme withdrawal symptoms, eventually requiring a specialized government-led rehabilitation program to successfully quit the habit at age 5. As of recent reports, he is a healthy teenager attending school with good grades, free from those vices. Illinois became the first U.S. state to ban exfoliating face washes containing plastic microbeads due to environmental concerns. These tiny beads are too small to be filtered by water treatment plants, allowing them to flow into lakes and rivers where they are accidentally consumed by fish and wildlife. During the 6th century in China, Emperor Cao Yang conducted the first recorded experiments with human flight using primitive artificial wings. He would frequently strap prisoners to large, sturdy kites and force them to leap from high towers to observe if they could successfully glide through the air. A psychologist named Timothy Leary was sent to jail in 1970 and given a series of tests to determine which jail he should be placed in. Since he designed many of the tests himself, he manipulated his answers so that he would be placed in a low-security prison as a gardener, and ended up escaping only 8 months later. Dressed-up Disneyland characters never ever break character. They're even given special autograph training sessions so that they can always sign autographs in the style of the cartoon character they're playing. Philani Dladla is a homeless man from Johannesburg, South Africa, who's known as the pavement bookworm. He survives by reviewing books for people passing on the street and sells them the book if they like it. Chiune Sugihara was a famous Japanese diplomat that operated in Lithuania during World War II. He helped more than 6,000 Jewish refugees escape to Japanese territory by issuing them transit visas, risking his life and his family's life in the process. Lotso the bear from Toy Story 3 was originally supposed to be in the first movie, but the technology needed to create his fur wasn't available at the time, so he got pushed back to the third film. Insurance companies have blacklisted Jackie Chan and anyone else who works on his stunt team. This means that if anyone gets injured while on the set of a Jackie Chan movie, he has to pay for their recovery treatment. A study conducted in 2011 by Angela Duckworth proved that IQ tests can be affected by motivation. By promising subjects monetary rewards, she found that the higher the reward, the higher they scored on the IQ test. Before Will Smith starred in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, he was on the verge of bankruptcy, owing the government $2.8 million. For the first 3 seasons of the show, he had to pay 70% of his income. Noah Webster, the father of the American Dictionary, was a dedicated polyglot who mastered 26 different languages to properly research his work. He studied these tongues, including Old English and Sanskrit, specifically to trace the complex etymological origins of American words and provide accurate historical definitions. In the early 20th century, the word jay was common slang for a foolish or uncultured person. Consequently, when people began ignoring traffic rules and crossing streets illegally, they were mockingly labeled jaywalkers, a term that eventually became the official legal description for the dangerous pedestrian behavior. To ensure his theme parks maintained the highest standards of service, Walt Disney frequently visited them in various disguises. He used these secret inspections to monitor ride operators and staff, making sure they were providing a magical experience rather than rushing guests through the attractions. While most people assume the laser reads the black lines, barcode scanners actually process the light reflected off the white spaces between the bars. The black bars absorb the laser's light, while the varying widths of the white gaps reflect it, creating a digital signal. In 1897, explorer Frank Hann discovered a large body of water in Western Australia and named it Lake Disappointment. He had spent days following tracks in hopes of finding a freshwater source for his team, only to find the lake was composed of undrinkable saltwater. Naturalist Casey Anderson shares an incredible bond with a 900-pound grizzly bear named Brutus, whom he rescued as a newborn cub in 2002. Their relationship is so close that when Casey got married in 2008, the massive bear served as his best man during the ceremony. Halieutics is the formal, scientific, and literary study of fishing and the various techniques used to catch aquatic animals. Derived from the Greek word for fishermen, this field covers everything from the biology of fish to the historical development of angling tools and commercial maritime practices. Every spring, a public art installation in Montreal features 21 musical swings near a local bus stop. Each swing is equipped with sensors that trigger specific pre-recorded notes as people move, allowing strangers to collaborate and create a giant, harmonious urban symphony through their collective motion. The Louis XIII pizza holds the record as the world's most expensive pizza, priced at $12,000 for a small 8-inch pie. Chef Renato Viola prepares the dish at the customer's home using luxury toppings like 3 types of rare caviar, Mediterranean lobster, and prawns infused with cognac. The government of Norway implements a unique tax break in November to help citizens prepare for the holiday season. By legally mandating that only half the usual income tax is deducted during that month, the state ensures that residents have extra disposable income for Christmas. The world's largest treehouse, located in Crossville, Tennessee, stood 10 stories tall and spanned over 10,000 square feet before it tragically burned down. Built by Horace Burgess over 11 years, it cost only $12,000 because he primarily used salvaged lumber and recycled materials for construction. Scientific experts estimate that the world's accessible supply of helium could be completely depleted within the next 20 to 30 years. Because helium is a non-renewable resource that escapes into space once released, its scarcity poses a major threat to medical technology and deep-sea diving. The Pallas's cat is a small wild feline that is considered the oldest living species of modern cat. Fossil records indicate that this distinct species first appeared approximately 6 million years ago, making it a prehistoric survivor that has remained largely unchanged throughout its long evolutionary history. Enuptophobia is a psychological condition characterized by an intense and irrational fear of staying single or settling for the wrong romantic partner. Sufferers may experience extreme anxiety at the thought of living without a spouse, often leading them to rush into unsuitable or unhealthy marriages. Salvador Dalí famously used his celebrity status and artistic talent to avoid paying restaurant bills. He would frequently draw elaborate sketches on the back of his personal checks, knowing the owners would never cash them because the original artwork was worth significantly more than the meal. The Oxford English Dictionary officially added the word Muggle to its pages, moving it beyond the world of Harry Potter. While originally meaning a non-magical person, the formal definition now includes any individual who is considered clumsy or lacks a particular specialized skill or ability. In the United Kingdom, citizens who reach the milestone of their 100th birthday receive a personalized congratulatory card from the monarch. This royal tradition also extends to couples celebrating their 60th, 65th, and 70th wedding anniversaries, acknowledging their incredible longevity and commitment to their partners. The Leshan Giant Buddha in China is a monumental 71-meter-tall statue carved directly into a stone cliff over 1,200 years ago. It took 90 years of continuous labor to complete, and it remains the largest and tallest stone Buddha statue in the world, overlooking 3 rivers. Oxygen is a colorless gas at room temperature, but it undergoes a striking visual transformation when cooled into a solid state. Solid oxygen, which forms at temperatures below -218 degrees Celsius, appears as a vibrant sky blue color due to the way its molecules absorb light. Despite its massive geographical size, which spans 5 different solar time zones, the entire country of China officially uses only one standard time. Known as Beijing time, this single-zone system means that in Western regions, the sun may not rise until 10 o'clock in the morning. The black mamba is widely considered one of the world's most dangerous snakes due to its speed and highly potent neurotoxic venom. It can travel at 18 feet per second, and its bite is nearly 100% fatal to humans if anti-venom is not administered within an hour. Legendary naturalist Charles Darwin was known for his habit of eating many of the rare animals he discovered during his global travels. While on his expeditions, he joined glutton clubs to taste exotic species, including giant tortoises, iguanas, and even an American rhea bird. In 1964, a high school student named Randy Gardner set the world record for the longest time spent awake by staying conscious for 264 hours. He accomplished the 11-day feat for a science fair project, experiencing significant cognitive changes and hallucinations throughout the experiment. The longest documented coma recovery involved a 6-year-old girl named Elaine Esposito, who remained unconscious for over 37 years. After going under anesthesia for a routine appendectomy in 1941, she fell into a deep sleep that baffled doctors, eventually passing away in 1978 without waking. While Pluto was once considered a major planet, it is actually quite small in terms of physical surface area. The total landmass of South America is significantly larger than the entire surface of Pluto, illustrating just how compact the distant dwarf planet really is. The rhinoceros beetle is one of the strongest creatures on Earth relative to its body size. It has the incredible ability to lift and carry objects up to 850 times its own weight, which is the biological equivalent of a human being lifting 65 tons. In the animal kingdom, a collective group of donkeys is officially referred to as a drove. This term is commonly used by farmers and zoologists to describe a gathering of these hard-working animals as they move together across fields or along rural pathways. With over 37,000 locations operating in more than 100 countries, McDonald's holds the title of the largest fast food chain in the world. The company serves approximately 69 million customers every single day, making it a dominant force in the global food and franchise industry. The human body is composed of several basic elements, with carbon being one of the most abundant. Scientists estimate that the average adult body contains enough elemental carbon to produce the graphite needed for over 9,000 standard number. 2 pencils. In 2016, France became the first country in the world to pass a law banning supermarkets from throwing away unsold food. Large grocery stores are legally required to donate edible products to charities or food banks, significantly reducing waste and helping those in need. J.K. Rowling famously planned the conclusion of her epic wizarding series long before the first book was even published. In 1990, 7 years before the world met Harry Potter, she had already written the final chapter of the 7th book to ensure a consistent narrative. During a 2004 appearance on Martha Stewart Living, the Cookie Monster revealed a surprising piece of his personal history. He shared that before he developed his famous obsession with baked treats and became known by his current title, his real name was simply Sid. Historical data suggests that human history has been dominated by conflict rather than cooperation. Over the last 3,000 years of recorded civilization, there have been only approximately 240 years where no major wars or significant armed conflicts were occurring anywhere on the planet. Because gorillas share approximately 98% of their DNA with humans, their bodies respond to many of the same medications. Research has shown that human hormonal birth control pills are effective on female gorillas and can be used by zoos to manage their primate populations. In 1979, a 16-year-old named Jadav Payeng began planting trees on a barren sandbar in India to prevent erosion and provide animal habitats. He continued this work every day for over 35 years, single-handedly growing a 1,360-acre forest that is now home to tigers and elephants. Some Japanese companies such as Sony, Toshiba, and Panasonic have banishment rooms where they transfer surplus employees and give them useless tasks or even nothing to do until they become disheartened or depressed enough to quit on their own, thus avoiding paying them full benefits. In 1886, a man named H. Holmes built a 3-story hotel in Chicago specifically to kill people in it. Its design included stairways to nowhere and a maze of over 100 windowless rooms, which he used to kill over 200 people. It's possible to hire an evil clown to terrorize your son or daughter for an entire week before their birthday. For a fee, artist Dominic DeVille will increasingly pursue your child and leave scary notes, texts, and phone calls, and ultimately attack your child on their birthday by smashing a cake in their face. Jeff Bezos possesses a net worth so immense that he would technically lose money by pausing to pick up a $100 bill, given his earnings per second rate. To maintain a stable wealth level and avoid getting richer, he would have to spend approximately $28 million every single day. Innovative digital pens now allow users to record and digitize every stroke, sketch, or handwritten note made on nearly any physical surface. These devices use advanced infrared cameras and internal sensors to track movement, instantly syncing the data to smartphones or computers for permanent digital storage and editing. A ventricular assist device, or VAD, is a mechanical pump that can permanently take over the workload of a failing heart. Because the device provides a continuous, steady flow of blood rather than a rhythmic beating, patients living with a VAD technically have no detectable pulse or heartbeat. To ensure academic integrity, Bangkok University in Thailand previously made students wear anti-cheating helmets during their final exams. These homemade devices consisted of 2 sheets of paper attached to a headband, acting as blinkers to prevent students from glancing at their neighbors' test papers during the session. Developed by a German food company, ESS-LAC is officially the world's first edible spray paint designed for culinary decoration. Available in vibrant gold, silver, red, and blue, the spray allows chefs and home cooks to coat food items in a metallic sheen that is completely safe to consume. In 2011, construction workers at the World Trade Center site in New York City uncovered the hull of an 18th century merchant ship. Buried 20 feet below street level, the vessel was likely used as landfill in the late 1700s to expand the shoreline of Lower Manhattan. Since 1898, the city of Mackinac Island in Michigan has maintained a strict ban on all motorized vehicles to preserve its historic atmosphere. Residents and tourists must travel exclusively by foot, bicycle, or horse-drawn carriage, making it one of the few places in America without car traffic. In 2004, Volvo revealed the YCC, a concept car designed specifically by an all-female team to address the needs of women drivers. The vehicle featured dent-resistant bumpers, easy-access storage, and lacked a traditional hood, as the engine was designed to only be serviced by professional mechanics. At the turn of the 20th century, major cities were overwhelmed by massive amounts of horse manure, which caused significant sanitation and odor problems. Automobiles were originally championed as the green alternative to animal transportation because they eliminated the need for millions of tons of biological waste. Animal Planet created a sensation by airing Mermaids the Body Found, a mockumentary filmed in a realistic documentary style. Despite being a work of fiction, the convincing special effects and expert interviews led thousands of viewers to believe mermaids were real when it aired in 2012 and 2013. The website, futureme.org, provides a unique service that allows users to compose digital letters addressed to their future selves. You can schedule these emails to be delivered years or even decades into the future, providing a digital time capsule of your current thoughts, goals, and life situation. In 2008, the prominent outdoor apparel company, The North Face, filed a lawsuit against a startup brand called the South Butt. The smaller company used a parody logo and the slogan, "Never Stop Relaxing," leading to a legal battle over trademark infringement and potential consumer confusion. In 2007, a charter boat captain named Eric Rue discovered and photographed a rare pink bottlenose dolphin in Louisiana's Calcasieu Lake. The dolphin, affectionately nicknamed Pinky, possesses a rare form of albinism that gives its skin a vibrant, bubblegum pink hue rather than the typical gray of its species. Following the death of famed conservationist Lawrence Anthony in 2012, 2 separate herds of wild elephants traveled through the South African bush to reach his home. Despite having no way of being told, the animals arrived to stand in a silent vigil, seemingly mourning the man who rescued them. Air pollution in certain industrial regions of China is so severe that breathing the air for a single day is health equivalent to smoking 21 cigarettes. The high concentration of fine particulate matter poses extreme risks to respiratory health, comparable to the long-term effects of heavy tobacco use. Using tissue from seeds buried by an Ice Age squirrel 32,000 years ago, Russian scientists successfully regenerated the Silene stenophila plant. This ancient Arctic flower is the oldest multicellular living organism ever brought back to life, having been perfectly preserved in the Siberian permafrost since the Pleistocene epoch. Determining the age of a fish can be done using a method very similar to counting the rings of a tree. As a fish grows, its scales develop concentric annuli, or growth rings, each year, which biologists can count under a microscope to accurately estimate the animal's lifespan. In 1985, a man named Jerome Moody tragically drowned at a New Orleans garden party attended by over 100 off-duty lifeguards. The group was celebrating a successful summer season with 0 drownings, yet they failed to notice their guests struggling in the pool until the party ended. In 1976, Princeton student John Aristotle Phillips wrote a detailed term paper outlining how to construct a nuclear weapon using only publicly available information. Although he received an A for the project, the FBI immediately seized the paper, labeling it a matter of national security. A psychological study conducted by Brock University suggested a statistical correlation between lower childhood IQ scores and the later development of prejudiced views. The research posited that individuals with lower cognitive abilities may gravitate toward right-wing authoritarian ideologies because they provide a sense of order and social hierarchy. The Unkai Terrace at the Tomamu Resort in Japan offers guests a breathtaking view from a mountain peak high above the clouds. Patrons can sit on a deck and watch a sea of clouds flow beneath them, a natural phenomenon caused by unique local temperature inversions and mountain winds. In 2008, Michael Birch sold his social networking platform, Bebo, to AOL for a staggering $850 million. Just 5 years later, after the site's popularity had plummeted under new management, Birch managed to buy the entire company back for only $1 million to attempt a relaunch. Italian artist Piero Manzoni created a controversial art series in 1961 by sealing his own excrement into 90 numbered tin cans. Titled Artist's Shit, the cans were originally sold based on the price of gold, with one later fetching over $300,000 at a high-end art auction. Since 1982, the food company Newman's Own has maintained a unique business model where 100% of all post-tax profits are donated to various charities. This philanthropic effort has resulted in over $400 million being given to organizations worldwide, ranging from children's camps to disaster relief funds. When British veteran James McConnell passed away in 2013 with no known family, his nursing home feared no one would attend his service. After a Facebook plea went viral, over 200 complete strangers, including many fellow veterans, arrived to pay their respects and ensure he received a full burial. In Russia, some wealthy citizens bypass heavy urban traffic by hiring ambulance taxis for as much as $200 per hour. These vehicles look like standard ambulances on the outside to legally use sirens, but the interiors are outfitted with luxury seating, high-end refreshments, and even chilled champagne. Reed Hastings, the founder of Netflix, got the idea to start the site when he received a late fine of $40 on a VHS copy of Apollo 13. Reed also approached Blockbuster in 2005 offering to sell the company for $50 million, which was turned down at the time. Today, the company is worth over $9 billion. In the 1930s, as air travel expanded, airports transitioned from two-letter identifiers to a three-letter standardized system. Airports that already had established two-letter codes simply appended an X to fill the requirement, which is why Los Angeles became LAX and Portland became PDX. Nutella is such a massive global phenomenon that the company consumes approximately 25% of the world's total hazelnut supply every year. This equates to over 100,000 tons of nuts, making the parent company, Ferrero, the single largest hazelnut buyer on the planet. North Korea has been identified by international authorities as a prolific producer of high-quality counterfeit United States currency, specifically the supernote. These forged $100 bills are so technologically sophisticated that they are nearly indistinguishable from genuine government-issued tender. In the Maldives, the local Coca-Cola bottling plant previously utilized desalinated ocean water to produce the beverage. Because the island nation lacks natural freshwater springs or rivers, the company invested in advanced desalination technology to ensure a consistent supply for production. Amazon revolutionized the e-commerce experience by inventing and patenting the one-click buying process. The technology was considered so valuable for reducing shopping cart abandonment that Apple famously paid Amazon a licensing fee to use the feature on the iTunes Store. Following the 1997 release of the film 7 Years in Tibet, the Chinese government issued a 20-year ban against actor Brad Pitt. Officials were reportedly displeased with the movie's portrayal of the Dalai Lama and the Chinese military's presence in the region during the 1950s. Demographic data shows that the Earth is currently home to a very young population, with more than half of the world's people being under the age of 30. This youth bulge is particularly prominent in developing nations across Africa and Asia, where birth rates remain high. The first electric chair used for capital punishment was invented by Alfred Southwick, who was a dentist by profession. He conceived the idea after witnessing an accidental electrocution, believing that using electricity would be a more humane and cleaner method of execution than hanging. Electronic waste is surprisingly rich in precious metals compared to traditional mining. If you compared 17 tons of raw gold ore with just 1 ton of discarded personal computers, you would actually extract more pure gold from the recycled electronics than from the Earth's ore. The number 2,520 holds a unique mathematical distinction. It is the smallest number that can be divided evenly, with no remainder, by every single integer from 1 through 10. This makes it the least common multiple for that specific set of numbers. The Greek national anthem, titled Hymn to Liberty, consists of 158 individual verses, making it officially the longest national anthem in the world. By comparison, the Canadian national anthem is much shorter, typically consisting of only 4 main verses in its official version. The coco de mer, also known as the Maldive coconut, produces the largest and heaviest seed in the entire plant kingdom. These massive seeds, which grow on palm trees native to the Seychelles, can weigh up to 40 pounds and take several years to fully mature. Moles are incredibly efficient excavators, capable of digging through soft soil at a remarkable speed. In a single night, a solitary mole can construct a tunnel system stretching 300 feet in length, which is roughly the equivalent of a human digging a 6-mile tunnel in 24 hours. A standard graphite pencil possesses enough writing material to draw a continuous line that would stretch for 35 miles. In terms of writing, this is roughly equivalent to 50,000 words, meaning one pencil could theoretically be used to write an entire short novel. Although it is a major world power, the country of England is geographically smaller than many individual U.S. states. England covers approximately 50,000 square miles, making it significantly smaller than Florida, which spans over 65,000 square miles. The luxury yacht Azam, owned by the royal family of Abu Dhabi, is a marvel of maritime engineering, standing at 590 feet long. Costing $600 million to build, it is the largest and fastest superyacht of its size, reaching speeds of 37 miles per hour thanks to its massive 94,000 horsepower engines. Despite its name, traditional buttermilk does not contain any actual butter. It is the liquid left over after whole milk has been churned into butter. Modern commercial buttermilk is usually made by adding healthy lactic acid bacteria to low-fat or skim milk. You will not find a single pack of chewing gum for sale inside any Disney theme park. This strict policy was implemented by Walt Disney himself, who wanted to keep the parks pristine and prevent guests from stepping in sticky gum or seeing it stuck to the underside of tables. Ruth Wakefield, the creator of the chocolate chip cookie, famously sold her Toll House recipe to Nestlé in 1939. In exchange for the rights to print the recipe on their packaging, she did not ask for money, but instead requested a lifetime supply of Nestlé chocolate. While they don't make tires for cars, Lego is technically the world's largest tire manufacturer by sheer volume of units produced. In 2011 alone, the company manufactured 381 million small rubber tires for its various building sets, far exceeding the output of major tire brands like Bridgestone or Michelin. In 2009, Wikipedia's arbitration committee issued a permanent ban preventing anyone using IP addresses associated with the Church of Scientology from editing articles. The ban was enacted after it was discovered that church members were systematically manipulating content to remove criticism and bias the information. Starting in 1993, the government of Turkmenistan began providing its citizens with essential utilities free of charge. Under this policy, residents were entitled to free allotments of water, natural gas, and electricity, a benefit that was intended to last for 25 years to help the population. Christmas Island is a small Australian island located in the Indian Ocean that every year sees 50 million adult crabs migrate from the forest to breed known as the annual red crab migration. There are completely black chickens in Indonesia, known as ayam cemani. They have black plumage, black legs and nails, black beak and tongue, black comb and wattle, black meat and bones, as well as dark organs. In 2007, Joshua Bell, an award-winning violinist and conductor, conducted an experiment where he pretended to be a street violinist and had over 1,000 people pass him without stopping. He only collected $31 that day, yet 2 days previously sold out to a theater where each seat cost $100. The violin he was playing with on the street was worth $3.5 million. France holds a unique position as the only nation in Europe capable of being completely self-sufficient in basic food production. Thanks to its diverse climate and vast fertile plains, the country produces a massive surplus of grains, dairy, and meats, allowing it to feed its entire population without relying on external imports. When Albert Einstein faced a life-threatening abdominal aortic aneurysm in 1955, he famously refused life-saving surgery. He told his doctors that he wished to go elegantly, stating that it was tasteless to artificially prolong a life that had already served its purpose and seen its share of contributions. To protect animals from mistreatment, many animal shelters implement a strict ban on the adoption of black cats during the weeks surrounding Halloween. This policy is designed to prevent impulse adoptions, where people seek the cats as seasonal props, or, more tragically, to protect the animals from ritualistic abuse. The Singing Ringing Tree is a unique, wind-powered musical sculpture located on a hill overlooking Burnley, England. Designed by architects Mike Tonkin and Anna Liu, the structure is made of galvanized steel pipes of varying lengths that create a haunting choral melody whenever the wind blows through them. In 2011, archaeologists in Modena, Italy, uncovered a poignant discovery: the skeletons of a man and a woman buried together while holding hands. Dating back to the 5th or 6th century AD, the lovers of Modena have remained in this affectionate embrace for over 1,500 years. The Shangri-La Hotel in Shanghai set a world record by creating a massive ball pit as part of a breast cancer awareness event. Measuring roughly 82 feet by 41 feet and filled with over 1 million pink and white plastic balls, it officially became the largest ball pit ever constructed. Starbuck, a legendary Canadian Holstein bull, became one of the most influential figures in the history of dairy farming. Due to his exceptional genetics, his semen generated over $25 million in sales throughout his life, and he is estimated to have sired more than 200,000 daughters worldwide. The Burj Al Arab in Dubai, often referred to as the world's only 7-star hotel, provides an ultimate level of luxury for its patrons. Upon check-in, guests are provided with a 24-karat gold-plated iPad that serves as a virtual concierge, allowing them to book spa treatments or restaurant reservations with a touch. Poveglia Island, located in the Venetian Lagoon, carries a dark history as a quarantine station for the bubonic plague and later as a mental asylum. Because it is estimated that over 100,000 people died there, it is considered so dangerously haunted that the Italian government has strictly banned the public from visiting. During the 19th century, mustache cups were a popular invention for Victorian gentlemen. These specialized teacups featured a ceramic ledge, or mustache guard, across the rim with a small opening, which prevented a man's waxed mustache from getting soaked or melted by the hot tea. Long before the evolution of modern forests, the Earth's landscape was dominated by giant, tree-like fungi known as prototaxites. These massive mushroom-like stalks could reach heights of 24 feet and were the tallest living things on land, approximately 350 to 420 million years ago. During the early 1990s, Disney executives viewed The Lion King as a secondary project compared to Pocahontas, which was expected to be a prestigious, award-winning masterpiece. While the A team of animators worked on Pocahontas, the B team created The Lion King, which went on to become one of the highest-grossing films in history. The Pythagorean Cup, or Greedy Cup, is a clever drinking vessel attributed to Pythagoras of Samos. It uses a hidden siphon mechanism. If the user fills the cup to a moderate level, they can drink normally. But if they get greedy and overfill it, the entire contents drain out the bottom. In 1955, a group of monks in Thailand accidentally dropped a large plaster Buddha statue while moving it, causing the plaster to crack. To their astonishment, The broken casing revealed a magnificent solid gold statue hidden inside, which had been covered in plaster centuries earlier to protect it from invading armies. Self-made millionaire Harris Rosen transformed the Tangelo Park neighborhood in Florida through a massive philanthropic commitment by providing free preschool for every child and full college scholarships for every high school graduate. He saw the graduation rate soar to 100%, and the local crime rate drop by half. China is developing the Great City near Chengdu, a sustainable urban project designed to be entirely car-free. Built to house 80,000 residents, the city's layout ensures everything is within a 15-minute walk, resulting in 60% less carbon dioxide and 89% less landfill waste than a traditional city. In an effort to promote public health and physical activity, the Moscow city government introduced a unique payment system at the Vystavochnaya subway station. Commuters could receive a free metro ticket by performing 30 squats in front of a specialized motion sensing machine instead of paying with cash. The 2022 FIFA World Cup final was held in Lusail, Qatar, a city that was almost entirely built from scratch for the tournament. When Qatar won the hosting bid in 2010, the city of the future was largely just a blueprint, eventually growing to include a massive stadium, luxury marinas, and residential islands. In 1949, the Prince Motor Company, which later merged with Nissan, developed the Tama, an early electric vehicle. In response to post-war fuel shortages in Japan, this lead-acid battery-powered car could travel roughly 124 miles on a single charge, a remarkable feat for the technology of that era. The Letoporus mushroom, commonly known as chicken of the woods, is a bright orange fungus found growing on the sides of trees. It is highly sought after by foragers because, when cooked, it has a fibrous texture and savory flavor that is almost indistinguishable from fried chicken. The village of Giethoorn in the Netherlands is famously known as the Venice of the North because it contains no roads for cars. Located in a marshy area, the village is connected entirely by canals and over 170 wooden bridges, requiring residents and tourists to travel exclusively by foot or in whisper boats with silent electric motors. Japan is currently facing a significant demographic shift where the elderly population is growing much faster than the birth rate. This trend has reached a point where manufacturers have reported that the sales of adult diapers have officially begun to outpace the sales of diapers for babies. For over a decade, Rajesh Kumar Sharma has operated a makeshift school under a metro bridge in New Delhi to provide free education to hundreds of children living in local slums. Despite having no formal classroom, he uses the bridge's concrete walls as blackboards to teach basic literacy and mathematics to children who cannot afford formal schooling. Tree shaping is a unique form of arboriculture that uses living trees as a medium to create artistic structures or functional furniture. By carefully grafting, bending, and pruning the trees over many years as they grow, artists can create everything from living chairs and tables to complex geometric sculptures. On average, a healthy human will transition from full wakefulness to sleep in approximately 7 minutes. This duration, known as sleep latency, can vary based on exhaustion levels, but consistently falling asleep in under 5 minutes is often a sign of significant sleep deprivation. The leading causes of death globally are ischemic heart disease and stroke. The term ischemic refers to a condition where blood flow, and thus oxygen, is restricted or reduced in a part of the body. often caused by the narrowing of arteries due to plaque buildup. The world's largest gold bar is housed at the Toy Gold Museum in Japan and weighs a staggering 551 pounds, 250 kilograms. At current market rates, this single bar, which is roughly the size of a large loaf of bread, is worth over $15 million. Ronald Wayne, the often forgotten third co-founder of Apple, originally held a 10% stake in the company alongside Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. Fearing the financial risks involved in the startup, he famously sold his entire share for just $800 in 1976. Today, that same 10% would be worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Of the original 200 Apple I computers designed and hand-built by Steve Wozniak, fewer than 50 are known to still exist. Because of their historical significance in the birth of personal computing, functional units have become highly prized collector's items, occasionally selling at auction for over $500,000. Sharks are biological tooth factories, typically featuring about 15 rows of teeth in each jaw. Unlike humans, who only get 2 sets of teeth, sharks can replace a lost tooth in as little as 24 hours and may cycle through more than 30,000 teeth during their entire lifetime. Because the planet Mercury rotates so slowly on its axis, a single day, one full rotation, takes roughly 59 Earth days to complete. However, because it orbits the Sun so quickly, its year is only 88 Earth days long, meaning a single day on Mercury lasts for 2/3 of its entire year. Hippopotamuses possess specialized skin glands that secrete a thick red fluid, often mistaken for blood sweat. This secretion is actually a combination of pigments that serve a dual purpose. It acts as a natural sunscreen to protect their sensitive skin from UV rays and serves as a powerful antibiotic to prevent infection. In the majority of watch and clock advertisements, the time is set to 10:10. This specific placement is used for aesthetic reasons, as it frames the brand's logo symmetrically, mimics the shape of a smile, and ensures that the hands do not overlap or obscure any key features of the watch face. A significant portion of the dust found in domestic environments is composed of dead human skin cells. Humans shed millions of skin cells every day, and in a typical household, these cells accumulate on surfaces and mix with other fibers and particles to form the majority of common house dust. Roughly 1/3 of the Earth's total land surface is classified as either semi-arid or desert. These regions are defined by receiving extremely low annual precipitation, which creates harsh environments that cover vast portions of Africa, Asia, and Australia. The underground drug trade in Colombia is estimated to generate as much as $10 billion annually. This massive illicit economy is so large that it often rivals or exceeds the value of the country's primary legal exports, such as coffee, oil, and emeralds combined. While the movie Snakes on a Plane featured hundreds of serpents, only about 1/3 of them were real animals. To ensure the safety of the cast and crew, the production utilized a combination of real, non-venomous snakes, advanced animatronics, and digital CGI effects for the more dangerous stunts. Lady Gaga has secured her place in the Guinness World Records multiple times, including a record for the highest number of product placements in a single music video. Her telephone video featured over 10 different brands, ranging from electronics and soft drinks to high-end fashion and food. Canada is home to roughly 2/3 of the world's total polar bear population. These apex predators are vital to the Arctic ecosystem, with the majority of the global population residing in the territories of Nunavut, the Northwest Territories, and parts of northern Manitoba and Quebec. The city of Montreal faced a massive financial burden following the 1976 Summer Olympics, which went significantly over budget. The debt was so substantial that the city only finished making its final payments in 2006, exactly 30 years after the Games concluded. In 2005, a couple from Nepal made history by becoming the first people to marry on the summit of Mount Everest. In another record-breaking feat, American climber Jordan Romero reached the peak in 2010 at the age of 13, making him the youngest person to ever stand on the world's highest point. To maintain discipline and discourage minor misconduct, police officials in Thailand have utilized a unique form of public shaming. Officers who break minor rules or behave unprofessionally are occasionally forced to wear a bright pink Hello Kitty armband for several days as a visible badge of their mistake. In a strange historical coincidence, the German engineer who led the design for Saddam Hussein's massive underground bunker in Baghdad was the grandson of the woman who designed Adolf Hitler's primary bunker in Berlin. Both structures were engineered to withstand the most powerful conventional bombs of their respective eras. The Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library at Yale University features a striking architectural design with no traditional windows. Instead, the exterior walls are constructed from thin panels of translucent Vermont marble that filter out harmful ultraviolet rays while allowing a soft amber glow to illuminate the interior, protecting some of the world's most valuable literary treasures from sun damage. In the early 20th century, the Parisian Apache underworld used a specialized multi-tool weapon known as the Apache revolver. It featured no barrel, making it effective only at close range, but it uniquely combined a fold-out 7mm revolver, a serrated wavy dagger, and a grip that functioned as brass knuckles. The Cancun Underwater Museum, MUSA, in Mexico, features over 500 life-size sculptures submerged on the ocean floor. Created by artist Jason DeCaires Taylor and others, these statues are made from specialized pH-neutral cement that promotes coral growth, effectively turning a massive art gallery into a thriving artificial reef. To ensure her footwear is never uncomfortable during long public engagements, Queen Elizabeth II utilizes a designated staff member with the same shoe size to break in her new shoes. This royal shoe wearer walks in the shoes across palace carpets to soften the leather and prevent the queen from developing blisters. Google offers a unique death benefit to the families of its employees. If a staff member passes away while employed, their surviving spouse or domestic partner receives 50% of their salary for the following 10 years, and any children receive $1,000 per month until they reach age 19. The German language is famous for its highly specific compound words, such as Backpfeifengesicht. This term literally translates to a face in need of a slap, and is used to describe someone whose expression or attitude is so annoying that it provokes a physical reaction. For many years, Venezuela maintained the lowest gasoline prices on the planet due to heavy government subsidies. At its lowest point, a liter of gas cost approximately 1 US penny, making it cheaper to fill a vehicle's fuel tank than to buy a single bottle of water. The Don't Miss a Sec toilet in London, designed by artist Monica Bonvicini, is a functional public restroom made of one-way mirrored glass. Positioned on a busy street, it allows the person inside to observe every passerby and the city surroundings, while remaining completely invisible to those on the outside. Tavarua Island in Fiji is a world-renowned destination for surfers, famous not only for its luxury resort and access to legendary breaks like Cloud Break, but also for its natural, near-perfect heart shape when viewed from the air. While extremely rare, it is biologically possible for a seed to sprout inside a human lung if inhaled. In 2010, a man in Massachusetts was hospitalized with a collapsed lung, only for doctors to discover that a pea seed he had inhaled months earlier had split open and begun to sprout in the warm, moist environment. The Appian Way, Via Appia, is one of the earliest and most strategically important Roman roads, with construction beginning in 312 BC. Remarkably, significant portions of the original stone-paved road are still intact and utilized by pedestrians and light traffic in Italy today. In 2001, the self-governing island of Niue issued a series of legal tender $1 coins featuring iconic Pokemon characters. The set included Pikachu, Meowth, and the 3 original starters, making them highly sought-after collectibles for both numismatists and fans of the franchise. Adwaita, an Aldabra giant tortoise, was one of the longest-living animals in recorded history. He lived in the Alipore Zoological Gardens in Kolkata, India, and was estimated to be roughly 255 years old when he passed away in 2006, having reportedly once been a pet of British General Robert Clive. The Apple App Store has a maximum price cap for individual apps, which is currently set at $999.99. There are several luxury apps priced at this limit, such as the VIP Black app, which offers high-end concierge services to individuals who can prove they have a net worth of over $1 million. Despite the depictions in popular cartoons, a real-life coyote is significantly faster than a roadrunner. While a roadrunner can sprint at about 32 kilometers per hour, a coyote can reach speeds of up to 69 kilometers per hour, meaning a coyote would have no trouble catching its avian rival in a straight race. Beyond his acting career, Johnny Depp is an accomplished musician who has played guitar on studio recordings and live stages with major acts like Oasis, on the track Fade In Out, Aerosmith, and Marilyn Manson, and is a founding member of the rock supergroup Hollywood Vampires. Christian atheism is a theological position in which individuals follow the moral and cultural teachings of Jesus without believing in the literal existence of a deity. Practitioners view God as a metaphorical representation of human love or justice and see the Bible as a collection of profound but non-divine allegories. Carmen de Larefis is recognized as the world's oldest working supermodel. Having appeared on her first Vogue cover at the age of 15 in 1946, she has maintained a continuous and high-profile career in the fashion industry for over 7 decades, still appearing on runways and in major campaigns well into her 80s. The World is the largest private residential cruise ship on the planet, where the passengers are actually permanent residents who own their onboard apartments. The ship continuously circumnavigates the globe, spending several days in each port, while owners pay millions for the units and hundreds of thousands in annual fees. At the narrowest point of the Strait of Gibraltar, the distance between the southern tip of Spain and the northern coast of Morocco is only about 14 kilometers, roughly 9 miles. Engineers have proposed several plans for a bridge or tunnel to link Europe and Africa, though the geological depth of the water remains a major hurdle. The Lego Bruca in Wuppertal, Germany, is a stunning piece of urban art where a functional concrete railway bridge was transformed by street artist Meggs. Using a specialized painting technique to create realistic shadows and highlights, he made the bridge appear to be constructed from massive, colorful Lego bricks, earning it several international design awards. If you enjoy the hobby of collecting and researching historical or scenic picture postcards, you are practicing deltiology. After coin and stamp collecting, deltiology is considered one of the most popular collecting hobbies in the world, as enthusiasts use vintage cards to track how cityscapes and social customs have changed over the decades. During their time filming The Mickey Mouse Club in the early 1990s, Justin Timberlake's mother, Lynn Harless, served as the legal guardian for a young Ryan Gosling. Because Gosling's mother had to return to Canada for work, the Timberlakes opened their home to him, and the two future stars lived together as brothers for 6 months. Before achieving global fame, the rapper Macklemore spent time working as a music specialist at a juvenile detention facility in Seattle. He utilized his passion for hip-hop to help incarcerated youth process their emotions and trauma, teaching them how to structure their thoughts into rap lyrics as a form of therapeutic expression. Deep within the massive iTunes terms and conditions, a document few people read in full, is a specific clause regarding international security. Apple explicitly forbids users from utilizing their software or services for the development, design, manufacture, or production of nuclear, chemical, or biological weapons. The Bingham Canyon Copper Mine in Utah, also known as Kennecott Copper Mine, is the world's largest man-made excavation and deepest open-pit mine. It measures about 0.75 miles deep, 2.5 miles wide, and covers approximately 770 hectares, producing more copper than any other mine in history. GPS-enabled shoes inspired by the Wizard of Oz, called No Place Like Home, guide the wearer home. Clicking the heels 3 times activates the system. A GPS in one heel and LEDs in the tips indicate direction, while a progress bar shows proximity to the pre-programmed destination. The friendship paradox is a social network phenomenon where, on average, people have fewer friends than their own friends do. This occurs due to sampling bias. Individuals with more friends are more likely to be connected to others, making the average friend's friend count higher. Mobile phones emit electromagnetic frequencies that can cause slight heating of body tissues. Studies suggest potential effects on over 100 proteins in the brain, though long-term health impacts remain under ongoing scientific research and debate. Airplane turbulence cannot be reliably predicted in advance. It can strike suddenly, even on clear, cloudless days, without visible weather indicators, caused by invisible air currents or jet streams, making it a persistent challenge for aviation safety and passenger comfort. Ancient Rome achieved a population density roughly 8 times higher than modern New York City. Its urban core packed far more people into limited space through multi-story insulae buildings and efficient infrastructure, reflecting advanced city planning for the era. The Hawaiian alphabet consists of only 12 letters, 5 vowels, and 7 consonants, H, K, L, M, N. This limited set reflects the language's phonetic structure and Polynesian origins. A flamingo can only feed effectively with its head upside down. This unique posture allows it to filter food from water using its specialized beak, trapping algae, shrimp, and small organisms while expelling excess water. A 1915 University of Chicago study determined yellow is the easiest color to see from a distance. This finding led to yellow becoming the most popular color for taxis, improving visibility and safety for drivers and pedestrians in urban environments. The song "Happy Birthday to You" is over 120 years old, with its melody originating in the late 1800s. It was under copyright until 2016, which is why it rarely appeared in TV shows or films without licensing fees. The lifetime chance of an American being killed by lightning roughly equals the chance of a person in Japan being shot and killed with a gun. This highlights stark differences in risks from natural events versus firearm violence between the two countries. Sheep grazed in New York City's Central Park until 1934. During the Great Depression, they were relocated due to fears they would be slaughtered for food amid widespread economic hardship and food scarcity. The scientific term for the pins and needles sensation, often from nerve compression, is paresthesia. It describes temporary tingling, prickling, or numbness in limbs when blood flow or nerve signals are briefly disrupted. Matt Groening, creator of The Simpsons, named the character Marge Simpson after his real mother, Marge Groening. This personal touch connects the show's family dynamics to his own upbringing. Ancient Roman charioteers earned extraordinarily high salaries, often surpassing what modern international sports stars receive today. Top performers gained fame, wealth, and sponsorships comparable to celebrity athletes in contemporary professional sports. Reciprocal liking is a psychological phenomenon where discovering that someone likes you increases your liking for them. This occurs because positive feedback boosts self-esteem and creates enjoyable, mutual positive feelings in social interactions. A group of stingrays is called a fever. The term is used in marine biology to describe stingrays swimming together in coordinated movement. The word fever likely refers to the rippling motion created when many stingrays move simultaneously. If an astronaut removed their spacesuit on the moon, they would lose consciousness within seconds due to exposure to vacuum. Bodily fluids would begin to boil from pressure loss, lungs would rupture if air was not exhaled, and death would occur quickly from oxygen deprivation, not freezing or explosive force. Earth is the only planet in the solar system whose name does not originate from Roman or Greek mythology. The name Earth comes from Old English and Germanic words meaning ground or soil. Light travels at a constant maximum speed only in a vacuum, not through materials like air, water, or glass. The measured speed of light in a vacuum is 186,282 miles per second. At this speed, light could circle Earth approximately 7.5 times each second. Steven Spielberg waited more than 10 years after being offered the story of Schindler's List before directing the film. He believed he lacked the emotional maturity and historical understanding required. Spielberg chose to delay production until he felt capable of portraying the Holocaust with appropriate seriousness and responsibility. Shigeru Miyamoto, the creator of Mario, Zelda, and Donkey Kong, was banned from riding bicycles by Nintendo executives. As his importance to the company increased, Nintendo feared injury risks. They required him to use cars for transportation to reduce the chance of accidents affecting their most valuable creative asset. More than half of all lottery tickets sold are purchased by only 5% of lottery participants. This small group spends disproportionately large amounts of money on repeated ticket purchases. Studies show these buyers often come from lower-income households. making lottery systems effectively regressive sources of revenue. Life expectancy in ancient Rome averaged between 20 and 30 years, due largely to infant mortality, disease, and poor sanitation. A false awakening is a vivid dream in which a person believes they have woken up but remains asleep. These dreams often replicate real environments, routines, and sensations. False awakenings commonly occur during lucid dreaming or sleep disorders and can repeat multiple times, creating confusion between dream and reality. Pineapples naturally decompose through biological breakdown when left in the environment. In contrast, a standard light bulb does not rot because it is made of glass, metal, and inert materials. Without physical damage, light bulbs can persist for decades or longer without breaking down naturally. The first basketballs were brown because they were made from leather similar to soccer balls. Players found them difficult to see against wooden floors and dim gym lighting. The modern orange color was later introduced to improve visibility for players, referees, and spectators during fast-paced gameplay. The Swiss Army officially disbanded its pigeon platoon in 1996. For decades, pigeons were trained to carry messages when electronic communication failed. Advances in secure radio systems and digital communication eventually made the pigeon unit obsolete, ending one of the last military uses of messenger birds. President Andrew Jackson owned a parrot named Polly that attended his funeral. The bird repeatedly shouted profanity learned from its owner, disrupting the ceremony. Church officials eventually removed the parrot to maintain decorum, making it one of the most unusual incidents recorded at a presidential funeral. In medieval Europe, the number 4 was commonly written as 4 vertical lines instead of the Roman numeral 4. This avoided confusion with the letters 1 and 5. The style remains visible on many antique clocks, where using 4 provided better visual balance on circular clock faces. Olive Garden dinner mints are customized versions of Andy's crème de menthe candies. The restaurant uses a proprietary design and slightly modified flavor exclusive to Olive Garden locations. Although branded differently, the mints are produced by the same manufacturer, specifically tailored to match the restaurant's dessert experience. The longest overdue library book on record belonged to Sidney Sussex College, Cambridge. Borrowed in either 1667 or 1668, the book was returned in 1956. The delay totaled nearly 300 years, making it the most extreme documented case of late book return. Palynology is the scientific study of ancient pollen and spores preserved in soil, sediment, and rock layers. Researchers use this data to reconstruct historical climates, vegetation patterns, and ecosystems. Palynology plays a crucial role in understanding long-term environmental change and prehistoric agricultural development. The average American home contains approximately 300,000 individual items. This includes furniture, clothing, paperwork, electronics, and miscellaneous objects. The shortest film ever to win the Academy Award for Best Picture has a runtime of exactly 90 minutes. Despite its length, the movie met all eligibility requirements and outperformed longer competitors, proving that storytelling impact and quality are not dependent on extended screen time. The word coconut originated from Portuguese sailors in the 15th century. They believed the 3 indentations on the shell resembled a face. The word cocoa meant grin or grimace, and coconut literally translates to little face, reflecting the sailor's visual interpretation. As of 2023, The most recently officially released Nintendo 64 game is Xenocrisis. The game was produced decades after the console's original lifespan, demonstrating continued retro development. It was released using physical cartridges compatible with original Nintendo 64 hardware. Ketchup flows at approximately 0.028 miles per hour due to its non-Newtonian fluid properties. Heinz designed its glass bottle at a specific angle to optimize flow. The angle ensures ketchup pours smoothly without excessive shaking, improving user experience during serving. Excessive use of laxatives can cause the inner lining of the colon to develop a leopard-like pigmentation pattern. This condition, known as melanosis coli, results from chronic irritation of intestinal tissue. Although usually reversible, it indicates long-term misuse and potential digestive health issues. National Pretzel Day began in Pennsylvania in 2003. The state has strong historical ties to pretzel production dating back to German immigrants. The observance celebrates pretzel history, cultural significance, and regional influence, particularly in areas where pretzels became a staple snack food. The word nerd first appeared in print in a 1950 children's book by Dr. Seuss titled If I Ran the Zoo. In the story, the term described a strange fictional creature rather than an insult. Over time, the word evolved through popular culture to describe socially awkward or academically focused individuals. The fear of beards is known as pogonophobia. The term comes from Greek roots, with pogon meaning beard and phobos meaning fear. People with this phobia may experience anxiety, discomfort, or panic when seeing or touching facial hair, often due to personal trauma or learned psychological associations. Originally, dribbling was not allowed in basketball. Early rules only permitted passing the ball between players. Dribbling was later introduced as a defensive maneuver rather than an offensive strategy. Over time, rule changes transformed dribbling into a core skill, fundamentally reshaping how the game is played. As of recent records, no woman has ever been drafted into the National Basketball Association. A few women have participated in team tryouts or preseason activities, but none were officially selected during the draft. Structural differences between professional men's and women's leagues remain a defining factor. National High Five Day is celebrated on the third Thursday of April each year. The observance began in 2002 when students promoted the gesture as a symbol of encouragement and positive energy. In the board game, players are not punished for having more children than they can financially support. The plastic peg system allows unlimited family growth without economic consequences. This design choice simplifies gameplay and avoids introducing real-world financial stress into a family-oriented entertainment format. The word coleslaw has a long multicultural history shaped by European agriculture and migration. The modern term comes from the Dutch word koolsla, meaning cabbage salad. Over centuries, the dish evolved as ingredients, preservation methods, and regional tastes influenced how raw cabbage was prepared and served. The world's fastest-built house was completed in 1983 in 2 hours and 45 minutes. The construction broke a previous record of 4 hours and 18 minutes. The project demonstrated extreme coordination, prefabrication techniques, and efficient labor organization under controlled conditions. However, the accelerated process reduced quality control, increased internal stress, and left little time for adjustments during placement and finishing. Life 360, church in Chesterfield Village, Springfield, Missouri, was originally the Palace Theater. The building transitioned from an entertainment venue into a place of worship as the surrounding community changed. Adaptive reuse preserved the structure while giving it a new social function centered on religious gatherings and community events. The longest board game ever created is the Campaign for North Africa, published by Simulations Publications, Incorporated. It is an extremely detailed World War II strategy game. The rulebook spans hundreds of pages, modeling logistics, fuel consumption, and historical realism at an unprecedented level. The Campaign for North Africa recommends 10 players and has an estimated total playtime of 1,500 hours. Ibrahim Setch of Iraq set a Guinness World Record by stacking 7 M&M candies into a vertical tower. The record was achieved on April 7, 2022. The challenge required steady hands, patience, and precise balance due to the candy's small size and smooth surfaces. Millennial fathers spend approximately 3 times more time with their children compared to fathers from previous generations. Sociological studies link this shift to changing cultural expectations, increased emphasis on emotional involvement, and evolving definitions of parenting roles within modern family structures. In 2022, a river otter was spotted in the Detroit River for the first time in over 100 years. The sighting indicated improving water quality and ecosystem recovery. Otters are sensitive to pollution, making their return a strong environmental health indicator. Modern car trunks include glow-in-the-dark emergency release handles due to a kidnapping survival case. A woman and her husband escaped confinement inside a trunk and later advocated for legal changes. David Rush from Idaho set a Guinness World Record by balancing a non-running chainsaw on his chin for 37 minutes and 56 seconds. The feat required exceptional balance, neck strength, and concentration. Rush is known for pursuing multiple unconventional endurance-based world records. In 1982, 43% of fathers reported they had never changed a diaper. In contrast, recent surveys show that figure has dropped to about 3%. Crater of Diamonds State Park in Arkansas is the only public diamond mine in the world where visitors may keep what they find. Since 1972, more than 31,000 diamonds have been discovered. The park allows open searching, turning geological exploration into a public recreational activity. In the late 1930s, rumors circulated that child actress Shirley Temple was secretly a 30-year-old adult with dwarfism. The claims became so widespread that a Vatican priest reportedly investigated them. The rumors were entirely false and reflected extreme celebrity gossip culture of the era. Hammerfest, Norway, experiences a phenomenon where the sun does not set for approximately 69 consecutive days during summer. In winter, the town experiences extended darkness. This occurs because of its location above the Arctic Circle, where Earth's axial tilt affects sunlight exposure. Peanuts are not true nuts, but legumes, meaning they are related to beans and lentils. Unlike tree nuts, peanuts grow underground. Their classification affects agricultural practices, allergy categorization, and nutritional grouping despite common culinary treatment as nuts. Before rubber erasers were invented, people commonly used bread to remove pencil marks from paper. Soft bread could lift graphite without damaging the surface. The practice was widespread until the development of purpose-made erasers in the 18th century. The phrase "saved by the bell" does not originate from boxing. It comes from historical safety coffins equipped with bells. If someone buried alive regained consciousness, they could ring the bell to signal for help, preventing accidental death from premature burial. The act of throwing someone out of a window is called defenestration. The word comes from the Latin term fenestra, meaning window. It entered English through historical events in Europe. The 4 suits in a standard deck of playing cards were not standardized until the 15th century. Early card decks varied widely across Europe in symbols and designs. Hearts, diamonds, clubs, and spades eventually became dominant due to French card makers, whose designs were easier to print and replicate using stencils. Some fish are capable of climbing trees, most notably the mangrove killifish. This fish can survive outside water by hiding inside cracks and holes in mangrove trees during low tide. It absorbs oxygen through its skin, allowing it to remain alive without direct access to water. A human sneeze can travel at speeds of approximately 100 miles per hour, which is faster than a cheetah's maximum running speed of about 75 miles per hour. While the cheetah is the fastest land animal, a sneeze is a brief but extremely forceful expulsion of air. Walt Disney reportedly had a fear of mice, which is ironic given that his most famous creation is Mickey Mouse. Despite building an entertainment empire around the character, Disney himself was uncomfortable around real rodents, showing a contrast between personal fears and creative inspiration. Slugs have 4 noses, which are actually sensory tentacles. 2 upper tentacles contain eyes that detect light and movement, while 2 lower tentacles are used primarily for smelling and tasting. These structures help slugs navigate environments, locate food, and sense potential danger. There is at least 1 McDonald's restaurant on every continent except Antarctica. Antarctica lacks permanent civilian populations and commercial infrastructure, making restaurant operations impractical under extreme conditions. If a starfish is cut in half and the central nerve ring remains intact, each half can regenerate into a complete starfish. This process occurs through cellular regeneration and differentiation. Some species can even regrow an entire body from a single severed arm over time. The average person spends about 6 months of their life waiting for traffic lights to turn green. This estimate accounts for daily commuting, urban traffic density, and repeated short delays. Over decades, these small pauses accumulate into a surprisingly large portion of total lifetime. The Texas horned lizard has a unique defense mechanism that allows it to squirt blood from its eyes. The blood confuses predators and contains chemicals that taste foul, particularly to canine attackers. This unusual adaptation increases survival chances in open desert environments with limited cover. Burping in space is nearly impossible because gravity is required to separate gas from liquid in the stomach. In microgravity, gas remains mixed with stomach contents. Any attempt to burp instead causes regurgitation, making astronauts rely on careful dietary planning to avoid discomfort. Ralph Teeter, the inventor of cruise control, was blind from childhood. He designed the system because his chauffeur frequently changed driving speed, which Teeter found irritating. Using mechanical engineering and feedback systems, he created a device to maintain consistent vehicle speed automatically. A cat's purr vibrates at frequencies between 25 and 150 hertz. Some studies suggest these frequencies may promote bone healing, muscle repair, and stress reduction. Cats may benefit biologically from purring, while humans often experience calming psychological effects when exposed to the sound. Temperature can be estimated using crickets through Dolbear's law. Count the number of chirps a cricket makes in 15 seconds, then add 37. The resulting number gives an approximate temperature, in degrees Fahrenheit as chirping speed increases with ambient temperature. Flatworms, lobsters, starfish, and jellyfish cannot stick out their tongues because they do not possess tongues at all. These organisms either lack complex mouth structures or use entirely different mechanisms for feeding, such as external digestion or simple openings without muscular protrusions. The sensation where a word temporarily loses meaning after being repeated many times is called semantic satiation. This occurs because the brain becomes desensitized to the word's sound and structure. Neural processing shifts away from meaning, making the word feel strange or nonsensical. William Shakespeare is credited with inventing over 1,700 words. He created new terms by combining existing words, altering grammatical forms, or borrowing from other languages. Many of these inventions, such as lonely and excitement, became permanent parts of the English language. Despite their different colors, all Fruit Loop cereal pieces have the same flavor. The colors are purely visual and do not correspond to distinct tastes. The uniform flavoring simplifies manufacturing while still creating the illusion of variety through bright, multicolored appearance. The United States government has an official zombie apocalypse plan called Complan 8888. It was created as a military training exercise to teach strategic planning without referencing real-world enemies. The plan outlines responses to fictional zombie scenarios to practice logistics and coordination. Lego is the world's largest tire manufacturer by quantity. Each year, the company produces over 300 million tiny rubber tires for its toy vehicles. Although small in size, the sheer volume surpasses traditional automotive tire manufacturers in total units produced annually. The small dots found on playing dice are called pips. Pips are used to represent numerical values on each face. Their arrangement is standardized so that opposite sides of a die always add up to 7, ensuring balance and fairness during gameplay. An open jar of mustard stored in a refrigerator has an average usable life of about 1 year. Mustard's acidity and preservatives slow bacterial growth. Over time, however, flavor degrades and texture changes, making it less appealing even if it remains technically safe to consume. Kentucky has more barrels of bourbon aging in warehouses than it has people. The state produces approximately 95% of the world's bourbon. Barrels must age for years, causing inventory to accumulate and outnumber the human population at any given time. The theatrical phrase, "break a leg," is used to wish performers good luck before a show. Its origins are debated, with theories including reverse psychology to avoid tempting bad luck, references to stage curtains called legs, or actors bending their knees while bowing after a successful performance. The world's most remote post office is located in Antarctica and operates only during seasonal research periods. Staff members process mail for visiting scientists and tourists, while also assisting with wildlife research. HMS Habakkuk was a proposed British warship during World War II, designed to be built from pickrete, a mixture of ice and wood pulp. The concept aimed to create unsinkable aircraft carriers. Only a prototype was constructed before the project was abandoned and dismantled. The first word of the first chapter of the first Harry Potter book is Mr. The opening line begins with Mr. and Mrs. Dursley, establishing the ordinary setting before introducing the magical world. Disney theme parks place trash cans no more than 30 steps apart throughout their walkways. This decision came from studies observing guest behavior and litter patterns. By keeping bins constantly within reach, Disney significantly reduced trash on the ground and improved cleanliness without relying on enforcement. If the Amazon rainforest were considered an independent country, it would rank as the 9th largest in the world by land area. Its size exceeds that of India and covers multiple South American nations. Goldfish are capable of remembering information for several months, disproving the myth that they have a 3-second memory. Studies show they can learn patterns, recognize feeding times, and even identify their owners. Their memory abilities help them navigate environments and respond to consistent stimuli. At any given moment, approximately 2,000 thunderstorms are occurring across the Earth. These storms collectively produce around 100 lightning strikes every second. The fastest muscle in the human body is the orbicularis oculi, which controls blinking. A single blink takes roughly 100 to 150 milliseconds. This rapid movement protects the eyes from debris, spreads moisture across the surface, and occurs thousands of times each day without conscious effort. The 10 most popular boys' names in the United States in 1970. These rankings come from Social Security records and reflect naming trends influenced by tradition, religion, and popular culture of the era. A Major League Baseball is typically used for only about 7 pitches during a professional game. Balls are frequently replaced due to scuffing, dirt, or minor damage. Pitchers prefer pristine surfaces for grip and control, while league rules require consistent ball condition for fair play. A group of otters is called a romp. The term reflects their playful behavior, which includes sliding, wrestling, and interactive swimming. Otters are highly social animals, and their group activities strengthen bonds, improve hunting success, and provide protection from predators in aquatic environments. Scotland has 421 recorded words related to snow. These terms describe different textures, conditions, and stages of snowfall. The extensive vocabulary reflects the country's climate and cultural importance of accurately describing weather that directly affects travel, farming, and daily survival. Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers opened its 50th store in Victorville, California in April 2011. The company reached its 100th location in Bowling Green, Kentucky in October 2013. These milestones marked rapid expansion of the regional restaurant chain. Until around 1913, it was technically legal to mail children through the United States Postal Service. A small number of documented cases show parents sending children short distances because postage was cheaper than train tickets. Vague postal regulations allowed the practice before rules were tightened. The most expensive book ever sold is Leonardo da Vinci's Codex Leicester. It was purchased by Bill Gates for $30.8 million. The manuscript contains scientific writings and sketches on water, astronomy, and geology, making it one of the most valuable works of Renaissance science. Hydrox was the original cream-filled chocolate sandwich cookie, introduced in 1908 by Sunshine Biscuits. 4 years later, Nabisco released Oreo as a competing product. Although Oreo was technically an imitation, aggressive marketing, wider distribution, and branding caused it to surpass Hydrox in popularity, eventually becoming the dominant cookie worldwide. Miriaramas were massive 19th century entertainment spectacles combining painted visuals, live music, and spoken narration. These immersive presentations toured internationally, attracting huge crowds before cinema existed and serving as an early form of multimedia storytelling. Darth Vader's iconic breathing sound in Star Wars was created using a scuba diving regulator. Sound designer Ben Burt recorded the mechanical breathing noise through the device, then enhanced it for dramatic effect. The result helped define the character's ominous presence and became one of the most recognizable sound effects in cinema history. After returning from the moon, the Apollo 11 astronauts were required to fill out United States Customs declaration forms. They listed their departure location as the moon and declared lunar rocks as cargo. The paperwork reflected standard re-entry procedures, even though the mission represented humanity's first extraterrestrial return. Television took approximately 13 years to reach 50 million users after its introduction. In contrast, the mobile game Pokémon Go reached the same number of users in just 19 days. This comparison highlights how digital technology, smartphones, and global connectivity drastically accelerate modern adoption rates. The world's first automated teller machine was initially tested using fake money. Banks were skeptical about trusting machines with real cash. Early users received vouchers instead of currency, which could later be exchanged inside banks. Only after successful trials did financial institutions begin loading ATMs with real money. The town of Whittier, Alaska, has a population of roughly 200 people, nearly all of whom live in a single 14-story building. The structure contains apartments, a post office, a school, and essential services. Harsh weather conditions make centralized indoor living practical and efficient. The small blob of toothpaste placed on a toothbrush is called a nurdle. The term is used within dental and manufacturing contexts to describe the standard amount dispensed. It gained wider recognition through toothpaste packaging diagrams, where a pea-sized or strip-shaped nurdle is often illustrated. Japan maintains public payphones approximately every 500 meters in urban areas. Although rarely used for everyday calls, they serve as emergency communication tools during earthquakes and disasters. Unlike mobile networks, payphones are designed to remain operational during power outages and infrastructure failures. During the American Civil War, the United States issued 5-cent paper bills due to severe coin shortages. Precious metals were hoarded, making coins scarce in circulation. Temporary low-denomination currency helped stabilize commerce until normal minting resumed after the war ended. Russia's total land area is larger than the entire surface area of Pluto. Russia covers approximately 6.6 million square miles, while Pluto's surface measures about 6.4 million square miles. This comparison illustrates how vast Earth's largest country is relative to a dwarf planet. Sweden bans naming a child IKEA under its naming laws. Authorities consider the name potentially misleading or inappropriate because it is strongly associated with a global corporation. Swedish law allows officials to reject names that could cause discomfort, confusion, or social harm to the child. The Library of Congress holds the world's largest comic book collection, containing over 140,000 issues. The archive preserves comics as cultural and historical documents, recognizing their influence on art, storytelling, and social commentary across generations and international markets. In 1954, Anne Hodges became the only confirmed person in history to be struck by a meteorite and survive. The space rock crashed through her roof and hit her while she was resting on a couch. She suffered injuries, but recovered, making the incident uniquely documented. The first alarm clock was invented in 1787 by Levi Hutchins. It could only ring at 4 o'clock in the morning because that was the time Hutchins needed to wake up. The device was custom-built, with no option to adjust the alarm time. Panasonic produced multiple vacuum cleaner models during 1993 and 1994, including the MC44 and MC47. These models reflected early 1990s emphasis on durability, adjustable suction, and compact domestic appliance design. Buck Nelson, a Missouri rancher, claimed between 1954 and 1955 that he was abducted by friendly Venusians. He described meeting beings named Little Buck and Bob Solomon, who he said was 200 years old, along with a 385-pound dog named Bo, blending contactee culture with rural Americana. Van Halen's contract clause banning brown Ms. and Ms. was not a celebrity demand, but a safety test. The band's shows required complex staging and electrical setups. Millends Park in Portland, Oregon, measured roughly 2 feet wide and held the title of world's smallest park from 1971 until 2023. The record was later claimed by a park in Nagazumi, Japan, measuring about 2.5 square feet, slightly surpassing Portland's miniature landmark. The earliest recognizable knitted socks with split toes were discovered in ancient Egypt and date to approximately 250 to 500 AD. These socks were designed to be worn with sandals and demonstrate advanced textile techniques, showing that functional fashion innovation existed long before modern knitting machines or industrial production methods. In 1589, William Lee invented the stocking frame knitting machine, dramatically increasing knitting speed. Queen Elizabeth I denied him a patent, fearing the invention would eliminate jobs for hand knitters. This decision delayed industrial knitting adoption in England and illustrates early tension between technological progress and labor protection. Foursquare became a standardized playground recess game across the United States during the 1950s and 1960s. The game's simplicity allowed easy adaptation across schools and generations. Several campaigns argue that the caps lock key is obsolete, including the movement known as caps off. Critics say it causes more typing errors than benefits. Google removed the caps lock key from Chromebooks, replacing it with a search or function key, reflecting changing priorities in modern keyboard design. Studies suggest approximately 30 to 70% of honey sold in grocery stores is heavily processed or diluted with corn syrup. Ultrafiltration removes pollen, making origin verification difficult. This processing extends shelf life and appearance, but reduces nutritional value and authenticity compared to raw or minimally processed honey. The last officially recognized Monopoly World Championship was held in 2015. The event brought together elite players competing under standardized rules. Since then, no subsequent world championship has been organized. In Anchorage, Alaska, owning pet rats is illegal without special permission. An unusual exception exists for children who owned rats and left the city before July 28, 1983. The law reflects historical public health fears rather than modern pet ownership standards and remains one of Anchorage's strangest ordinances. Calculator number pads place 7, 8, and 9 on the top row because of early adding machine designs used by accountants. Phone keypads use 1, 2, 3 on top after Bell Labs research showed this layout reduced dialing errors. The difference reflects professional versus consumer usability priorities. The state of Franklin existed from 1784 to 1788 in what is now eastern Tennessee. Formed by settlers seeking statehood, it operated independently for several years before financial and political instability forced it to rejoin North Carolina, making it one of America's lesser-known failed state movements. When ballpoint pens first entered the market in the 1940s, they sold for $12.50 each, equivalent to over $200 today. They were advertised as revolutionary writing tools that would never leak, appealing primarily to professionals and military buyers before becoming affordable household items. Lens caps are the most commonly lost camera accessory. Photographers frequently remove them during shooting and misplace them due to small size and lack of attachment. Manufacturers often include replacement options, acknowledging that loss is common even among experienced professionals. Ceiling fan blade designs prioritize visual appeal over aerodynamic efficiency. While curved or decorative blades may look stylish, they often move less air than flat industrial designs. Gold-colored cars rank as the fourth most stolen vehicle color statistically. Thieves often target popular or easily resold colors, but gold vehicles remain valuable due to higher trim levels and perceived luxury. Color-based theft data reflects market demand rather than visibility or rarity alone. Highly intelligent people frequently get irritated by illogical behavior, poor reasoning, or annoying habits in others, but they often bite their tongue and say nothing. This restraint helps them dodge pointless arguments, preserve peace, and focus mental energy on more worthwhile pursuits rather than petty conflicts. When a polar bear and a grizzly bear interbreed, the hybrid is called a pitsy bear. If the father is a grizzly and mother a polar bear, it's more commonly called a growler bear. These hybrids are rare, but increasing slightly as warming climates push the bears' ranges closer together in the Arctic. Hershey's Kisses were named after the distinctive soft kissing or light smacking sound made by the early 20th century depositing machine as it dropped each small cone of chocolate onto the conveyor belt. Milton Hershey loved the sound and chose Kisses for the brand when it debuted in 1907. In the original Super Mario games, Princess Peach never moved because NES hardware limitations made animating a detailed female character in a flowing dress too technically challenging and memory-intensive. She finally became playable and mobile in Super Mario Bros. 2. Leaving a social event without saying goodbye or thanking the host is called a French exit in English-speaking countries. In France, the identical habit is known as partir à l'anglaise, creating a humorous mutual stereotype about rude departures between the two cultures. In Arizona, deliberately harming or chopping down a saguaro cactus is a Class 4 felony because these iconic cacti grow extremely slowly, up to 75 to 100 years to develop arms. Offenders can face up to 3 years in prison and significant fines to protect the Sonoran Desert's signature plants. Docero, a small maar volcano in central Colorado, remains geologically active. Its last eruption happened roughly 4,200 years ago, around 2,200 BCE, which lines up closely with the time ancient Egyptians were constructing the major pyramids at Giza. Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the first full-length animated feature film, also pioneered the release of an official motion picture soundtrack album, allowing fans to buy and enjoy the movie's songs and score separately from the theater experience. Pointing your car key fob directly at your head can increase the remote's operating range noticeably. The conductive fluids and tissues inside your skull amplify and direct the radio signal, often adding several extra meters of reach compared to pointing it normally. The giant anteater's scientific name, Myrmecophaga tridactyla, comes from Greek and Latin roots, meaning ant-eating animal with 3 fingers. It refers to the species' specialized diet of ants and termites, plus the 3 prominent, powerful claws on each of its front feet, used for digging into nests. The adhesive on fruit stickers is FDA, approved as food safe and non-toxic, making the stickers technically edible. However, manufacturers and health experts still recommend washing fruit thoroughly before eating to remove any potential dirt, pesticide residue, or sticker glue. The word astronaut is a compound from ancient Greek, astro, meaning star, and nauts, meaning sailor. So astronaut literally translates to star sailor, perfectly capturing the idea of someone who navigates among the stars. The bursts of colorful lights, patterns, or sparkles you see when rubbing your closed eyes are called phosphenes. They're caused by mechanical pressure on the retina or visual cortex, stimulating the visual system without any actual light entering the eye. A newborn baby giant panda is incredibly tiny, typically weighing only about 100 to 150 grams and measuring roughly 15 centimeters long, making it smaller than a typical house mouse, despite adult pandas growing to over 100 kilograms. Iceland has no railway system at all. The country's rugged terrain, small population, sparse road network, and harsh weather have made building and maintaining railroads impractical. So transportation relies entirely on roads, air, sea, and buses. The largest known prime number has 24,862,048 digits. It is a Mersenne prime, 2 to the power of 8 squared, 589, cubed 33 minus 1, found in 2018 by the Great Internet Mersenne Prime Search Project using distributed computing. In 2010, art dealer and author Forrest Fenn hit a bronze chest filled with gold, jewels, and artifacts, valued at over $1 million in the Rocky Mountains. He published a poem with clues. After a decade of searches, it was discovered in Wyoming in June 2020. Dexter Holland, lead singer of The Offspring, pursued higher education alongside his music career. He earned a Ph.D. in molecular biology from the University of Southern California, completing his doctorate and graduating in May 2017 while still active with the band. In 2013, a 15-year-old New Zealand boy named David Smith hand-built what is recognized as the world's largest playable grand piano. The instrument measures over 18 feet long and features 85 keys, 3 fewer than the standard 88-key concert grand. In Japan, a company called Owarai Geinin Yosei Gakko has been teaching people how to be funny since opening its first school in 1982. Around 1,000 students enroll annually to learn stand-up, sketch comedy, and comedic timing skills. The LEGO Group is consistently ranked as the world's most powerful brand in various studies. There are now more LEGO minifigures produced than there are people on Earth, with billions created since 1978. The Bagheera Kiplingi, discovered in the late 1800s in Central America, is the only known mostly vegetarian spider species. About 90% of its diet consists of plant-based Beltian bodies and nectar from acacia trees, rather than insects or other prey. The Roman-Persian Wars were the longest continuous conflict in history, spanning roughly 721 years, from 54 BC to 628 AD. They involved shifting alliances, massive battles, and territorial disputes between the two empires. The name Jesus derives from the Hebrew Yeshua, meaning Yahweh saves. When transliterated through Greek, Latin, and into English, it became Jesus. But the direct English equivalent of the original Hebrew name is Joshua. German chocolate cake is not German in origin. It's an American dessert named after Samuel German, an American baker. Which one hit you the hardest? Drop it in the comments. I'm reading every single one. If these blew your mind, smash that like button and turn on notifications so you never miss the next wild one.